So I know I'm super late to the party on the whole Doom Eternal phase of the internet, like almost about a year late at this point. But to just go ahead and excuse myself, I wanted to play 2016 first. I played 2016 on the Switch, and I sucked at it, but I still really liked it. It was honestly pretty high above my expectations that I had going into it. So when I came into Doom Eternal after it had finally went on sale, I went in with very high expectations. I had heard amazing things about this game, how it was literally the Jesus of the first-person shooter genre. That the game would fuck your wife, and you'd be honored that it chose your wife of all people. Basically, I had heard amazing things about Eternal, and yet my expectations going into Eternal were still blown out of the fucking water. Doom Eternal is very easily the best first-person shooter I have ever played. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not necessarily a first-person shooter guy. It's not my favorite genre, and this might be a hot take, but from my experience with Modern Warfare 2019, I think Call of Duty as a franchise is honestly pretty mediocre in my personal opinion. Now, I will say that the reason I think this way is most likely because of my lack of exposure to the franchise, and to be honest, I haven't even finished the campaign for Modern Warfare 2019 yet. So really, who am I to tell you how you should feel about COD? But everything aside, Doom Eternal blew my already very high expectations out of the fucking water. This game bends you over, fucks you for 24 hours straight, and it feels good. God damn, that sounded sus as fuck. I won't be reviewing the game because there's not much I can say on the game that hasn't been said already, and there's much better videos on the game than anything I can put out here. So I'm just going to recommend Under the Mayo's videos on the game. He made a phenomenal video defending a very controversial enemy in the game called the Marauder. And honestly, his whole YouTube channel is honestly really good in my opinion. A lot of people don't really like him, but I like him. He's pretty funny, to be honest. And then obviously I would recommend Griffin Gaming's videos on the game, since my channel is at this point is basically a carbon copy of his. And I'm basically just doing the videos people keep asking him to do at this. But the point is, if you haven't played Doom Eternal yet, please go play it. Despite what you're gonna hear the idiot coming up here say, I honestly can't recommend it enough. And at the very least, if you just have no interest in the game at all for some reason, you should at least wait for a sale on the game, since it has been going on sale all the fucking time, and get it then. So basically, the point of this video is just laugh at some idiots online, as usual. However, today we're going to be laughing at a very special idiot online. Now, this review of Doom Eternal is just fucking awful. Like, I thought my review of Avengers Endgame that I made back when I was in like 7th grade was bad, because I clearly didn't understand that movie in the slightest. But god damn, this review might have just taken it to a whole new fucking level. So basically, we're gonna be looking at a person called 21Kiloton. Now, I remember seeing this guy back during the whole Last of Us 2 controversy. He also, in my opinion, made a pretty shit video on the game, basically just rehashing every single point I've heard a million times from a million different videos. Yes, I'm one of the select few idiots who honestly loved that game. Click off the video if you're pissed or something, I don't fucking know. However, don't group me in with all the dumbasses in the Last of Us 2 fan community, because boy, are those people some fucking idiots. God damn. How the fuck do you cry watching a fucking video game trailer? Oh my god. But Last of Us 2 aside, I know I can't go an entire video without mentioning The Last of Us 2, but basically, I checked out his YouTube channel, with most of his content ranging from mediocre to this, which should be self-explanatory. Basically, he made a Doom Eternal review titled Doom Eternal Review. Best first-person shooter ever? Cool story, bro. And, yeah. The dislike ratio itself should be enough to tell you that this is a shit video. And even that, the Under the Mayo comment at the top saying, quite possibly the worst review of any media ever, should be enough to tell you that this is a god-awful video. So if you can't handle sitting through this god-awful video, I completely get it. Feel free to click off the video. I'll just give you the heads up. Here on West Korea, this video is the video we use to torture our citizens. So yeah, that's your heads up. This is your final warning, and yeah. Now, like I said in my last video, I am 100% for constructive criticism, as long as everyone admits that their opinions are opinions and not fact. Even if someone just makes a really stupid claim, acknowledges that their opinions are opinions, I'm chilling. I won't even make a video on it unless they're just objectively wrong. However, I haven't heard any valid examples of good constructive criticism of Doom Eternal. It's all, I don't like X, so Y is bad, and I wish blank happened over blank. It's honestly kind of like The Last of Us 2 now that I think about, oh shit, I should probably stop there. I have never heard a valid objective criticism of Doom Eternal. Maybe one complaint could be that the climbing feels kinda clunky, how you can't move while you're turned around, but even then, it still kinda makes sense with Doom's realistic physics, and even that is still pretty subjective. So before you go all Josh, you just hate this video because you disagree with it, well, that really couldn't be further from the truth. There are tons of reviews that I very much disagree with, and I find their constructive criticism to be very eye-opening. I'll show a few examples on screen, but basically I am all for subjective criticism too, because it just helps you have a more open mind. And as you can expect, in this video, the dumbass acts like his opinion is fact and is above everyone else's. I don't know why it's just so hard to admit when you're wrong. I've been very much wrong in several of my videos in the past, and I do call myself out for that. And to boil it all down, I'm going to call people out when they're spreading misinformation, and I'm going to call people out when their opinion is somehow more important than everyone else's. So now that all the talking is out of the way, let's just look at this absolutely perfect, flawless, top-notch review of Doom Eternal.
Nine out of 10. Tech Radar.
I don't really know what the fuck he's talking about right now. I'm getting the implication from what he says later in the video that he was just too stupid to figure this quote-unquote puzzle out, which, if you were, you go to the giant fucking green diamond and you finish the second level. It's that simple.
Here we go. Not funny. Dickens left. Not funny.
2 out of 14. 21Kiloton. Welcome to Doom Eternal. It's an overpriced puzzle game with guns. And not that much ammunition.
What the fuck is this gameplay, man? Oh my god, it is atrocious. He's trying to punch the fucking fodder enemy when 3 minutes of playing Doom Eternal would be enough to tell you that the punch doesn't do shit. And the voiceover is even worse, but I'm not even going to debunk it right now because the quote-unquote context for this, where he gives his thoughts on the game, is even fucking worse. Just wait. Oh my god, is this how it's gonna be for the entire goddamn video? Jesus, he knows you get 2 of the dashes, right? That's why there's the number 2 next to the dashes, right? And that you have to shoot the target, jump, and then dash? Is it just him messing around for the video? I hope it is. I really hope it is, because there is no way someone can be this bad at Doom.
No. No, I don't think I will.
Content warning. Some viewers may find the dreadful gameplay footage in this video deeply upsetting. Viewer discretion is advised.
Damn straight this gameplay is bothering me. I'm not even good at Doom Eternal. I would honestly say I'm quite bad at the game, which again is why I haven't made a review on it. How the hell can you review a game when you clearly don't understand it or its gameplay mechanics?
Trigger warning. This video contains extensive criticism of this shithouse overpriced game. If opinions different from your own are going to hurt your fifis, then find a teat to suckle on, clutch your teddy bear tight to your own man titties, and go and find some unboxing videos to watch.
Yep. If you disagree with any of the points that I make that are factually incorrect, you're just a fucking man-child who can't handle opinions different from yours. Shut the fuck up.
Consider yourself warned, fanboys. Or fangirls. I'm not sexist. I should... It's just a real shame that so many people had to get sick or die just to make my bad personal lifestyle choices become socially acceptable.
Okay, so all we've just been talking about is just what's been going on with the COVID bullshit back in March, but oh my fucking god, he's struggling to kill the fodder enemies. Now, if this were on Switch, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'd say, well, Switch is very easily the hardest version of the game to play on. But no, he's playing on fucking keyboard and mouse. Keyboard and mouse. If he were getting used to the whole keyboard and mouse layout, again, I would give him some slack, since I'd say it's honestly pretty hard to get used to. However, he never says shit. This is honestly embarrassing. He literally lets an enemy's glory kill run out. Good god. He tries to punch the enemies! Why do people review games when they clearly don't understand the mechanics? It's so painful to watch.
I know factually that a lot of people who watch my channel have been affected negatively by what is going on in the world through sickness, economic impact or bereavement. You have my genuine sympathy and my thoughts are with you. But sadly, for the lot of you, I am well. I wasn't kidnapped by Ubisoft and now here we all are and I have to review a video game that nearly everyone is saying is fucking brilliant. And frankly, I don't agree with the general groupthink going on at the moment. Honestly, I don't know if they paid off a lot of reviewers or if they're just all mental.
Oh my god, it's a quartering again. Not this shit. Shut the fuck up. Seriously, of the hours you spent writing and editing your video, you couldn't have stopped to think for 1 second, maybe I'm the one that's a dumbass. Maybe I'm the one who bought Doom Eternal expecting Animal Crossing because they came out on the same day. Did you ever think about that? And even that, not only the fact that he said, if you disagree with my factually incorrect video at all, you're just a man-child who can't accept opinions differing from yours, just drives home the point that how much of a hypocrite this dude is. He tells everyone who disagrees with him that there's a fucking man-child, and then goes to say that the more popular people that like the game are all paid off because he just can't accept opinions differing from his. What the fuck? Not even 5 minutes in and we're doing this shit already. Oh my god.
Perhaps I'm mental. Equal odds on any of those scenarios. So let's ease into this one gently, as a sheep farmer might say. I should at this point qualify that I am playing this on PC with mouse and keyboard. I'm shit at Doom and I'm playing it on easy mode because I'm not seeking anyone's validation or approval. Besides, last time I checked, being good at video games did not make me more attractive to women, nor indeed confer any discounts from the sort of women I have sex with.
Yet again, calling everyone who is either good or even likes the game a virgin because they're better than him at something. I don't think making a really shit video clearly showing that you don't understand Doom is going to make your chances of getting laid any higher than being good at the game, man. Better luck next time.
But before we delve into this shit pile, let's take a quick look at the history of the Doom franchise.
I'm skipping all of this because he's essentially just reading off articles to extend the length of the video, which I don't really mind, but it doesn't help much when I'm making a video responding to a shit pile of a review when he's not reviewing the game. So yeah, I'm just gonna skip this.
The original Doom was ahead of the curve, whereas Doom Eternal is the exact opposite. It's so generic, derivative and frankly safe that it's far behind the curve and fails to be original and groundbreaking. It's like fucking Boeing getting up in the morning tomorrow and announcing they're going to make a biplane, only their biplane will have a heads-up display, fly-by-wire controls and anti-radar paint.
How the hell is Doom Eternal generic? In fact, I would say, if anything, Doom 2016 was the game more like every other first-person shooter. There's so many tiny touches to gameplay in Eternal that makes the game just feel completely different from 2016. There are actual, genuine criticisms for Eternal, like how they got rid of some of the fan-favorite features from 2016 for a mostly mediocre multiplayer that I honestly doubt anyone actually likes. But Doom Eternal's worlds are so gorgeous looking, unlike anything I've ever seen in a first-person shooter game. The enemy design is really cool, tons of enemies have weak spots, you get these sick as fuck weapons that have the perfect amount of new and old to them. Doom Eternal is honestly just anything but generic.
Nothing wrong with that. I like biplanes too, especially flash ones with lots of fancy gadgets. But it's still the wrong fucking century to be banging them out of the factory en masse. And right here is the thing of note. Bethesda used to be famous for great games. Into this maelstrom of recycled IP, Bethesda now releases yet another Doom sequel. Personally, I think they have been inspired by Activision releasing a new Call of Duty every year and thought, hey, why don't we crank out a new iteration of Doom regularly?
Imagine comparing Doom 2016 and Eternal, very easily some of the best first-person shooters of the genre in general, to fucking Black Ops 4 that replaced the campaign with Fortnite. Couldn't be me, man. And he acts like 2016 just came out last year. It didn't. By the title, I think you can figure out that Doom 2016 came out in 2016. And then he tries to go and say that Bethesda will try to pump out a new Doom game every year. Well, no, that's not the case at all. That's why they're doing the Ancient Gods DLC, because they want this game to last as long as possible. There's even a possibility that there will be even more DLC for Eternal to come. And the amount of free DLC in Eternal, along with the replay value in the base game, is enough to last you, honestly, hundreds of hours. It isn't like COD, where the previous game becomes essentially irrelevant with the new game. Doom 2016 is still just as good as it was in 2016, and Doom Eternal will still be just as good as it is now in 4 or 5 years when they release the next game in the series. Why would they make this entire new engine for Eternal only to scrap it with the new game next year?
It was 4 years since the last passable Doom bowel movement. And mark my words, the next Doom title will be along much sooner than that. So what is Doom Eternal exactly? Doom Eternal is the single and multiplayer, vaguely playable, always online asset flip of Dooms of late, only with super light RPG character progression and a little base camp where you can keep your dollies. It's a Doom game using Doom assets, where they try to be a little bit different with the doominess. It is vaguely what it says on the tin. In fact, the only thing shocking about the tin is that it says 50 fucking quid on it. And they want an additional 25 fucking quid for everything in the tin, and another 25 quid for the year 1 DLC pass.
This is just one of the stupidest claims about Doom Eternal that I have ever fucking heard. He's literally getting things factually wrong now. He says the game is 50, whatever the fuck his currency is where he lives, which sure. Then he says you need to buy the deluxe version to get the quote-unquote full experience, which you don't. I bought the standard version and my experience was perfectly fine. The deluxe edition just has the Ancient Gods DLC in it. And then, oh my god, this is where he just drives the short bus right off a cliff and says you need to pay another $25 to have the upcoming DLC, which the deluxe version already had the DLC! Oh my god. That's like saying Smash Ultimate is an unfinished game unless you have every DLC fighter. It's not. You physically cannot pay $100 for Doom Eternal. As of writing this video, you can buy the DLC for $30 in the US, and that's it. And even then, the game is constantly going on sale for $20. Probably during the next Steam sale, it'll go down to $15. I bought the $90 deluxe edition for $30 to get it on PC on the last Steam sale, and now I'm just waiting to get my PC so I can finally play the game the way everyone tells me it's meant to be played. This guy loves to say that Doom Eternal is quote-unquote overpriced, when no, it's not. It's the same fucking price as everything else in the AAA industry, and it's constantly going on sale. You're literally just lying to your audience to make your points seem legit when they're not. It's a brand new game that's finished, polished, and if you actually know what you're getting into, 99 out of 100 people will like it. But hey, the fact that he's already gotten the main point of his video wrong should tell you the overall quality of his actual video. Fuck's sake. 30 seconds of research, clicking on the Doom Eternal Deluxe Edition, seeing that it already comes bundled in with the Year 1 pass, should be enough to tell you, hey, maybe I just might be fucking stupid.
I'm going to assume you are way ahead of me here when I boldly assert that it is not worth £100 for the whole game.
But it's not £100, it's $75 at the most, and that's if you want to buy the extra 2 levels. That's it right now. I honestly can't believe that you researched your video so poorly. 30 seconds. 30 seconds of research. All it could have taken to not make you look like a complete and utter jackass.
It's great that it does what it says on the tin, but for £100, even if Emma Appleton jumped out of said tin when I opened it and gave me a fucking blowjob right there, afterwards I would still expect there to be a game in the tin as part of the deal. No offence, Emma, but £100 for a generic video game sequel is, as they say in Latin, taking the fucking piss. In Doom Eternal, you bounce around like a literal physical parkour manifestation of the adder-rolled pubescent mindscape of many of the players playing it. Bounce, shoot, bounce, shoot, bounce, shoot. Pound more adder-roll, rinse and fucking repeat.
What the hell were you expecting? A story-based RPG like The Witcher 3? Breath of the Wild? Every single game has its own gameplay loop that is constantly twisted around as you progress into it. That's how game design works. If Doom Eternal just randomly switched genres halfway through the game, that wouldn't make sense at all. And then people complain about The Last of Us 2 for false advertising, which, to be fair, it was false advertising, when this dude acted like you should have gotten more than the classic gameplay loop of Doom that was advertised that he was expecting. What the fuck did you want? The game to just jump out of the TV and give you head or something?
There is a PvP multiplayer battle mode, which I did not play. Basically, you get to pick a side and go 3-on-3 as either a slayer or a demon. I'm sure it's positively lovely, but probably worthy of a separate dedicated review, preferably made by someone who actually gives a fuck about Doom PvP, because let's face it, most of us don't. We bought this for the campaign and the single player, and that is both tiresome and frustrating in equal measure.
Based off of the god-awful gameplay I'm seeing, I'm going to assume that you're like the idiot games journalist who played the game, sucked at it, didn't even finish it, and then gave it a 2 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair assumption, right guys?
Graphics, sound and functionality. It's definitely not high drain on the old graphics hamster wheel. Running it on a slightly above average system, I could clearly see all of the flying eyeballs and cookie cutter recycled game assets on my screen. The best non-scientific benchmark I can give you is this. In Call of Duty Modern Warfare, on warm days, I hear my fans kick into a higher level. With Doom Eternal, I didn't even bother updating my drivers when I started playing it because I couldn't be fucked, and it still ran like a peach. The graphics is executed with a level of efficiency and economy so that they run like a greased cat, but still manage to look very visually busy and detailed enough. In fact, the visual eye candy that your face is bombarded with is impressive enough that someone standing behind you watching you play this in an internet cafe could easily be tricked into thinking you were enjoying the experience. You know, it looks like the other recent Doom game basically. Well, what does anyone expect? It's made on the cheap, with the exact same palette of developer assets, and probably the same fucking developers.
No shit. The game was made by the same developers as the last game? No way! It must fucking suck then, man. Developers making multiple games? Absolutely disgusting.
I thought the sound effects were very pleasant. Like someone grabbed a bag of guns, a baseball bat, a claw hammer and a microphone and went down to their local cooperative coffee shop, turned around the close sign and spent a few days brutally slaughtering the hipsters whilst recording every little detail of the carnage. And yes, that visual imagery would be more in keeping with the heritage of Doom. Certainly more in keeping with tradition than this puzzle box platformer.
Where the fuck are the puzzles? Like, I get the platforming, but where the fuck are the puzzles? Maybe they're in the Ancient Gods DLC because I haven't played that yet, but this review came out in March when Ancient Gods came out in like August or September. I don't even remember, but it wasn't too long ago. I could assume that he's mistaking you pressing the skull buttons in a one button prompt as a puzzle. And based off the god-awful gameplay, I think that's what I'm going to go with.
The key rebinding was very straightforward and unproblematic, which is frankly quite rare these days, in these days of cheap console ports. But let's keep this in perspective. This is a game with no crouch or reload. It's not exactly a tactical shooter. I just about managed to find all 4 of the important keys and rebind them. Move forward, jump, shoot and melee.
Well, no wonder you suck, because you're not using all your attacks at your disposal. You gotta switch weapons, you gotta use the flamethrower, use your chainsaw, the dash, the special attacks. Do I need to keep going? The fact that he just admitted that he tried to play the game using only 4 buttons and then proceeds to call the game bad because it's quote-unquote too hard just tells me so much about how this guy is as a person.
But you could probably rebind the controls onto a tracker ball and a giant red buzzer without significantly impeding the quality of the experience. So what about the NPCs? There were some. There were the big floaty around things, the spider things, the piss weak things, and those dicks that keep running at you. Apparently, they are each susceptible to different types of weapon attacks. If I had actually had any fucks to give about learning the game, I possibly could have figured out how this mechanic works.
Why are you reviewing a game that you don't care about? For fuck's sake, at least some of the reviewers at IGN care about the game they're playing. You just admitted that you have no clue how the game mechanics work, therefore you can't have an objectively valid opinion on the game. You can't review something, especially a game, without knowing the basics of how it plays. If this guy were to just do what Under the Mayo did with Dark Souls and say, hey, this game isn't for me, I won't be reviewing it because it's just not my type of game, I would 100% respect that. Doom Eternal is not a game for everyone. A lot of people don't like hard games like this, but the fact that you made a review without knowing shit about the game or how it works and tried to say that it's objectively bad is one of the stupidest things a reviewer could possibly do.
But thankfully I didn't. I just pretty much worked my way down through the weapons in turn, running out of ammo sequentially and then occasionally chainsawing or glory killing some arse-tard for the resupply drops. You know, because that is the game loop basically. Run out of ammo, melee someone, curse under your breath, rinse and repeat until either the game finishes or you run out of sedatives.
Oh my fucking god. No, you aren't supposed to run out of ammo. You're supposed to know, hey, this is how much ammo I have left. Be able to use your fucking brain, make an assumption when you need to chainsaw an enemy to get your ammo back, and then get back in the fight. It makes you think, and that's one of my favorite things about the game. It actually makes you think what you need to do next instead of just mindlessly shooting at random people. Again, you bought Doom wanting a COD game. It's not the game's fault you're too dumb to understand the core gameplay loop.
Well, let's talk about the fuckery. Well, it's too fucking expensive. Seriously, £100 for the whole game with all the glass beads and woolen blankets included.
Let me get this through your thick fucking skull. Doom Eternal is not £100.
Fuck that, it's not worth the trade. That's the same price as a Division 2 full edition. And at least with that game you get the community management team's State of the Game DLC expansion, where a variety of bullshitting corporate comedy sock puppets get up in front of the cameras every week to blow bubbles and improvise why the game is still fucked and unfinished, like some funny yet vaguely creepy corporate Punch and fucking Judy show. I don't think I can touch on fuckery without at least alluding to the fact that my gut is telling me that Bethesda clearly, how can I put this? Bethesda has clearly motivated a lot of content creators to give this game positive reviews. Best FPS game ever made? Fuck off. I doubt this will end up being the best FPS game this year. Oh, yeah, it probably will, because every major publisher is allocated at least one mandatory prize at the Video Game Awards, which is only fair really, because they are paying for them. And I mean that literally. Seriously, even Ubisoft walked away with 4 nominations last year, and their games in 2019 were a bucket of putrid fuck. On a serious note though, the mainstream reviews of this game are vastly overrating Doom Eternal. I will let the viewer decide whether that is caused by advertising budget blackmail, bribing YouTube reviewers, fear of pissing off fanboys, populism, basic low standards, or just basic poor taste.
Or maybe, just maybe, now think this out for a second, but what if, possibly, Doom Eternal's actually a really good game and you're just some cuck on the internet who doesn't understand how Doom works? I think that might be the pretty likely answer.
And in case you can't figure it out, it's mostly the first 3 with a fair bit of the last 3 thrown in too. When evaluating a video game, I always like to ask, for what problem is that the solution? Nobody really needed this game. Nobody was protesting outside of E3 last year screaming, "We demand a mediocre generic first-person sci-fi shooter where you bounce around a lot in the air, jumping from platform to platform."
And no one needed your shitty review, but here we are.
Shooting generic bad guys with generic weapons. The generic boingo boingo prepubescent kaleidoscopic shit shooter is an industry staple these days. It's like non-brand medium sliced bread or off-brand slightly too sugary peanut butter. Sure, it makes up the majority of our collective diets, but it's not what you would choose to eat if there was a nicer option. Especially not when this white bread game is, let's face it, a vastly inferior sequel to a once classic game.
How can you say that when you literally admitted you didn't spend the time to understand the gameplay mechanics, you didn't do what the game was telling you to do, and then you complain that it was too hard when you're literally ignoring what it's telling you to fucking do?
They have tried to spam it up a bit and rebrand it a little so they look like they earned their developer wages. There were the usual additional odd features that we are seeing a lot of these days in what should be traditional linear shooters. Fast travel points, allusions to semi-open world, which is really just about going back later and snaffling collectibles. Oh, collectible dollies, because the Slayer likes his dollies for floofs.
Okay, for one, how is the game semi-open world? What? It's just as open world as the original Doom game was. It's a linear arena shooter, that's it, no bullshit. For 2, how is having collectibles a bad thing? It's just more of a reason to go back through the level and play more of the game. And they're completely optional. You act like you have to find every collectible to get to credits. Spoiler alert, you don't.
Cosmetics. RPG ultralight character progression. With both damage output and reward input. If I ever manage to stumble across enough fucks to get emotionally invested in this game, I might well learn how that works and explain it to you. But I won't, and I suspect you knew I was lying when I said that. I doubt I'll even manage to finish this game.
Wait, what? Did I hear that right?
I doubt I'll even manage to finish this game.
Oh my god. This guy plays Doom, doesn't even finish it, writes a review, calls it shit, uploads that video to YouTube, and then proceeds to call out people like IGN and GameSpot for doing the exact same fucking thing. You know what? No, fuck this. I'm done, man. He didn't even finish the game for his review. I'm not gonna finish his video for my response, man. Fuck this. I'm done. Susan, turn the music off. We're done with this shit. Nope. Nope. I rate this review of Doom Eternal a shit out of 10. Thank you all for watching. Fuck off and have a nice day.